Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the class. Yesterday, we were discussing about the result of the first general election as well as state elections. And in these elections, we found that the Congress emerged as the majority party, and this majority was not a simple majority. Actually, Congress was able to win three-fourth majority. Means in every four members, three members were belonging to Congress. So there were total 489 seats in the first Lok Sabha, and Congress won 364 seats. That was around three-fourths of the total membership. And at the second position came the Communist Party, which won only 16 seats. So this was the condition. We can see the huge gap between the Congress and the party which stood second in the election result. This is the bar graph which we were discussing. In this bar graph, we can see that the Congress has won 364 seats, and this is CPI which won only 16 seats, and this 37 seats were won by independent candidate, which do not belong to any political party. They contest election on their own. So this is not any political party. It is the uh, number of the independent candidate who won the election. And we have discussed this map also, and in this map the yellow color is depicting the states which were ruled by Congress during the period of 1952 to 62, not during the period from 1952 to 1967. And this was the period when three general elections were held, as well as state elections were also held. So this red color denotes the rule of CPI in the in Kerala, and it was in 1957. It started in 1957, and it was there only for 2 years. And then Jammu and Kashmir is denoted by blue color, and this tells that here the rule was of national conference. So and the reasons which are shown in white, they are actually UTs, Union Territory, for which there was no elections held. Okay, and these other two paragraphs, we can also see these paragraph that these are representing the result of the second and third general election. In the second general election, also we see the Congress has won 371 seats out of 494, and in the third election also the Congress won 361 seats. So Congress was the it was expected by all the people that Congress will win the election, and the margin was also expected by the people. So uh, there were only exception of Travancore, Cochin, Madras, and Odisha, where Congress could not won a majority. But even in these states, uh, Congress formed the government, and we will see in the following pages how Congress toppled the democratically elected government in Kerala, that was the government of Communist Party of India, and it grabbed the power there, grabbed the seat there. Okay, so uh, we were discussing all these things, and in this connection. what is very much important for us to discuss is the mm, Kerala. What happened in Kerala in 1957, and then in 1959, what happened in Kerala? It was very much important. And first, we will discuss the condition which was there in the Kerala. So, in 1957, first time Congress had the bitter taste of defeat in Kerala. In the state election uh, of Kerala, the result was against Congress, and Communist Party became as the largest party in the Kerala Legislative Assembly. Though it could not become the majority party because there was total seats was 126, and the Communist Party won only 60 seats, which was not a majority, which was not a majority seat, because if we calculate the simple majority of 126, it will be 63. So the party was lacking 3 seats in order to form the government, in order to be able to form the government. And this it should be 64, because a simple majority is uh, 50% plus 1. So 50% of 126 will be 63, and when we will add 1, it will become 64. So in order to form the government, the Communist Party of India was in need of 4 seats, and it got the support of independent candidates. 5 independent candidates were uh, ready to support the Communist Party of India, and in this way, uh, Communist Party plus these independents were forming the majority, because they were equal the 65 seats they were having. And in this way, what happened that the governor invited the leader of the majority party in the Legislative Assembly. And who was the leader? The leader was EMS Namboodiripad, who was a famous leader of Communist Party of India. So, EMS Namboodiripad became the Chief Minister of Kerala, and the Communist Party of India became the ruling party in Kerala. And it was a very significant incident, because it happened for the first time in the world that a party communist party won the elections, which was held in a very democratic manner, in a multi-party system was there, everything was free and fair in the elections, and the Communist Party won the election, and it formed the government also in Kerala. So it was for the first time in the world that a Communist Party government had come to power through democratic election. And why it is given so much importance that a first time a Communist Party government had come to power through democratic election? You must be remembering the condition of China. China is a communist country, and in communist country, what we find that there is single party system. So in this, when elections are there, but only one party is there who is participating in the election, then that election cannot be said to be free and fair. And that election cannot establish democracy in a real sense of the term. Similarly, there are other communist countries also, and you must be remembering the Russian Revolution. After the Russian Revolution of 1917, what happened? That com- uh, commun- communist government was formed in USSR, and in the process, first of all, it was not the intention of Lenin to start the practice of single party system, but as the Communist Party could not win the election which was held for the first time in Russia on the basis of universal adult franchise, in this election Communist Party could not became the winning party, and it was the verdict of Lenin that after the result of the election, he rejected to accept the result. And afterwards, what was done, that the single party system was started in uh, Russia. The single party system was started in USSR, and other parties other than Communist Party cannot exist in USSR. So communism and democracy never go together. They both are completely different things. They do not go together. And in India, what we find that when in Kerala the CPI emerged as the single largest party, and with the help of with the support of independent candidate, it was able to form the government also. So it was the first victory of Communist Party uh, through democratic elections, because in India, whatever the election was held in a completely democratic manner, it was completely free and fair, and in this it became victorious. So, but here you one must notice that the Congress was not ready to accept its defeat, though it was defeated. Still, it was not ready to accept the defeat. And what was started by Congress Party in Kerala was a liberation struggle. It means that in their view, Kerala was under the rule of communist, and they need to liberate it. And for that, they started a type of movement. And on the other hand, we saw that Communist Party, it is based on the ideals of communism, and communism is the main focus of communism is on the equality. There should be equal distribution of resources among the people. There should not be private property. These are the basic principles of communism. So, when the Communist Party became the ruling party in Kerala, it was to bring many radical and progressive policies in Kerala, as it promised during the campaigning. It was written in its manifesto that if it comes to power, then it will start these radical and progressive policies. And both the Congress and the Communist Party were in the conflicting situation, and Communist Party were against the Congress, and they were saying that whatever liberation struggle is being started by the Congress is only for it is only a struggle for power and nothing else. Other than grabbing the power, other than snatching the power, they have no aim. And then what happened, that in 1959, the government formed in 1957, and in 1959 the Congress government at the center dismissed the communist government in Kerala under Article 356 of the Constitution. Article 356 is regarding a state emergency. Uh, President has in India, President has some emergency powers, and the first emergency is national emergency, which is mentioned in Article 352. And this national emergency can be declared by the president at the time of external attack or internal insurgency. Okay, armed rebellion type of situation when arose in inside the country, then only national emergency can be imposed by the president. And the second one is state emergency, which is mentioned in Article 356. And the third emergency is financial emergency, which is in Article 360. So, we will discuss this state emergency. What do we mean by a state emergency? If the governor of any state send a report to the president that the state to which he belongs, the state is not running according to the provisions of the constitution, and there is a failure of constitutional machinery in the state, then in that case, mm, if the such report is sent by governor to the president that the state government is not functioning according to the constitutional provisions, and there is a failure of constitutional machinery, then in that case what happens that the president on the basis of this report can declare emergency in the state. And when emergency is declared, then the state legislative assembly becomes suspended, and all the powers of the state legislative assembly is exercised by the parliament. And after that there is provision of election also. So in this connection we can say it was this article was misused for the first time in 1959 when the democratically elected government was suspended. When the democratically elected government was suspended by using this article 356. So it was the first example, and after that we see that this type of incidents occur very normal. It is very normal. It has become very normal trend in Indian politics to mm, mm, dismissed the state government on the ground of failure of constitutional machinery, because you know that the governor is appointed by the uh, president on the advice of council of minister. So governor acts as an agent. Okay, so the role of the governor becomes very important in this regard. And mostly what happens when at the center, suppose a particular party is in power, and in a particular state, different political party is in power, or the opposition political party is in power in the state, then the relation between the center and state becomes conflicting. And many times it happens that the center misuses this article 356 to dismiss the state government which is ruled by the opposition party. Okay, so this was the first example, and after that there many constitutional amendments were done, and Supreme Court has also given verdict by which the in recent years, the misuse of Article 356 has been reduced to a large extent. Now we will come back to the election results of first three general elections. So what we see that Congress was able to win the three-fourth seats. Okay, that was around 74% of the seats were won by Congress. But if we see the share of voting, how what percent of the voters voted the Congress? We see that only Congress obtained only 45% of the total votes. Whatever votes were given, only 45% of the total vote was obtained by Congress. So you can see the difference. Uh, share in voting is 45%. Okay, and share in seats is 74%. So why this is happening? You have studied in your class 11th book, where constitution, Indian constitution at work. In this book there was a detailed discussion on this topic. The system which is adopted in India for the election is called first past the post system, isn't it? In this system, what happens in this system, any candidate is any candidate will be declared winner if he gets maximum number of the votes. So there is no mark that the candidate needs to secure at least 51% of the votes in order to be a winner. It's not like that. Suppose four candidates are there contesting the election, then whoever gets the maximum number of votes will become the winner. And this maximum number of votes can be 30%, 35%. Okay, so in this situation, what we see that there may be such case that a candidate is getting 35% of the votes and another candidate is getting 30% of the vote. But the 35% of when the candidate who is getting 35% of the vote will be victorious. So only by a little margin, that candidate who got 30% of the votes could not win the election. And in this type of system, what happens that people the political parties get seats not according to the voting, not according to their share in the voting. Their share in the voting is less, but their share in the seats is very much great. Why this difference? You understood now? Because all these things are you have studied all these things in class 11th and I explained you again. So this system was adopted by our constitution makers, and this is the loopholes of this FPTP system, that there will not be proportion, there will not be proportion in the representation. And our constitution makers adopted this system because our the India was there was so many illiterate people were there at that time, and moreover uh, people were not having any kind of experience of election. So in this situation, our constitution makers were of the opinion that people must be given simple thing. If we have adopted that proportional representation, then what happened that our voters could not have been able to understand the system of that representation. So, because of simplicity, our constitution makers adopted this system, and simplicity was not the only reason. There were other reasons also, because in proportional representation, what happens that the no party is able to win the majority of the seats, and in this because of this, stability of the government is lacking in that system. And uh, these were the reason why our political leaders adopted the first past the post system. So we can see that if our constitution makers adopted this FPTP system, so because of this system, the Congress was at an advantageous position, because it was able to win three-fourth seats, and in spite of its share in the voting was only 45%. So we can see here also that the Socialist Party, which was the second largest party in terms of votes, not in terms of seats, but in terms of votes. The Socialist Party, which was the second largest party in terms of votes, secured more than 10% of the votes. Okay? It was able to win more than 10% of votes all over the country, but it could not even win 3% of the seats. Okay, so here we are seeing that the Socialist Party was at a loss. It was at a disadvantageous position. It got 10% of the votes. Okay, but it in terms of seats, what we see that it got only less than 3% of the seats. So this type of situation was there, and Congress was in a beneficial position because of this system. Okay, so in this system of election that has been adopted in our country, the party that gets more votes than other tends to get much more than its proportional share. In this system, proportion has nothing to do. The only concern is that the candidate should get maximum number of votes. So this worked in favor of the Congress. And if we add up the votes of all the non-Congress candidates, it was more than the votes of the Congress. So we are seeing now Congress was able to win only 45% of the total votes. It means 55% of the voters voted against Congress. Still, Congress won three-fourths seats. So this is the disproportion. This is the this was not the true representation, because more people are against Congress. Congress still Congress is getting three-fourths of the seats in the Lok Sabha. So, what was the why Congress was in the beneficial position? Because the non-Congress votes were divided. So many small parties were there. So many candidates were there that all the non-Congress votes were divided between different rival parties and candidates. So the Congress was still way ahead of the opposition and managed to win. Okay, so this is your result of the first three general election, and in these results, Congress won three-fourth seats in almost all the not almost in all the three elections. Congress won three-fourth seats, and the opposition condition of opposition was very bad. And in states also we can see that the Congress was ruling in almost all the states except Kerala, that was called Travancore, that was called Travancore Cochin, and where for 2 years there was rule of some other party, and then Jammu Kashmir where the rule was of uh, National Conference. So now in the box it is some information is given about Rajkumari Amrita Amrit Kaur. Amrit Kaur, she was a Gandhian and freedom fighter. She belonged to the royal family of Kapurthala, and she inherited Christian religion from her mother, and she was a member of Constituent Assembly also, and Minister for Health in independent India's first ministry. Um, in the election of 1952, after the election of 1952, when the government was formed, she became Minister for Health, and she continued this post till 1957. So these boxes are very important because questions are asked about these persons. So you must memorize the important facts about these famous leaders. Okay. Suppose in this you must know that she was a Gandhian, and then she belonged to the royal family of Kapurthala, and she was a member of Constituent Assembly. Then she was a Minister of Health till 1957. For 2 terms, he was Minister of Health. Okay, so this is important for you. And after that, we have discussed communist victory in Kerala, and now we will know about some other parties which were existing um, in India before independence, and they were smaller parties. Okay, and we will discuss about it in the next class.